Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. The address is in the description below. The direct purchase and pricing question line from you to me and my crew for your questions about buying this or any watch you see here on Watchbox Reviews, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing a Leviathan. Launched in 2005, the Omega De Ville Rattrapante was one of the most complicated watches ever offered by the Omega brand. But what you see here elevates everything to the next echelon of exclusivity and craft excellence, as we have a double mother-of-pearl dial, both white and blue, with a full platinum case in 41mm and an invisible setting baguette diamond factory bezel. Everything you see here is by Omega proper. Now, in terms of the fit and the feel, let's talk a little bit about sizing, because the watch actually looks a bit larger than it is. The timepiece measures 41mm by 14.9mm thick by 51.3mm lug-to-lug with a 20mm spacing between the lugs. Now, throwing it on my 16cm circumference wrist, we'll take a quick look at sizing. It's a full-sized watch, but it's not quite as big as you think. It's broad and substantial and chunky, but it just isn't that large. At 41mm, it has the presence on the wrist of a 44 while measuring an honest 41, and I took my caliper to it to check. I would recommend wearing it on a wrist as small as 14.5cm circumference, because frankly, it's got visual impact, but not a whole lot of physical footprint. The strap is made of alligator leather, bolstered close to the lugs. You can see it's all high gloss, large rectangular scale alligator leather. It has a folded edge with a monotone stitch, calfskin on the underside. You can see this is a brand new Omega factory strap, so you'll be the one to first gouge it. Now, the timepiece in platinum is like a lot of watches in platinum today, in that the buckle itself is made of white gold. And you can see that's simply because white gold is a harder metal than platinum. And so when you're using thin swing arms, as we are here, it's a bit more durable. We have engine turning or perlage internally. We also have high polish, and as you can see, it is a twin trigger release clasp with a minderless system. And I say minderless because the strap tucks underneath when you size it, and then there are no strap minder loops, and there's no excess length visible externally. So it's a very clean design. And again, with the twin triggers, it can't pop open accidentally. The case is Baroque. As you can see, even without the gems or the mother of pearl, there's a lot going on in terms of the case contours, as we have a set of lugs that break out rather dramatically, featuring fluting on their tops and steps on their side. Now, you can see the red collar around the Rattrapante trigger. We'll talk about that in a moment. You'll also note that everything is of high polish. It's a little bit of a nod and a wink to vintage Omegas like the 2637 that had these same stepped out lugs back during the 1950s. Now, you can see that there is a little set of sort of guardlets, mini guards for the crown, and it is 100 meters water resistant and loomed while being automatic winding with a split-second chronograph. So though it isn't expressly a sports watch, it is a sporty watch. On the dial side, you can see that blue mother of pearl, which is iridescent and almost holographic with a three-dimensional depth to it in person. You'll note applique, Roman numerals, applique Omega logo and marquee, applique indices outboard for the hours, and note all of the indices loomed. There is a white on blue printing for the seconds track and the minutes track, and you'll appreciate that at center we have a set of polished hands that contrast quite nicely. The Rattrapante plate is also applied. Now, basically what you have is a split-second chronograph, allowing you to gauge the distance between two, shall we say, race cars around a track. Race car 1 passes the line. Race car 2 passes the line. You can see the gap between them. As it waxes and wanes, you can use the split-second chronograph to gauge the difference. Now, of course, there's a lot of mechanical refinement to love here. The watch talks a big game visually, but it also lives up to it, as inside we have a Frédéric Piguet base movement elaborated to create the co-axial chronometer, double column wheel Rattrapante vertical clutch Omega 3612. So the 3612 has all of the toys, free sprung and adjusted in 5 positions. It is a certified chronometer. It has 2 separate column wheels for crisp actuation of the Rattrapante system. Each one has a very sharp feel and a correspondingly snappy audible report to the ear. Because of the vertical clutch system, you can also start it without any jump or stagger, and if you wish, simply leave it running with no additional wear and tear to the watch. Additional refinements include a hacking seconds or stop seconds function and a quick set date. The watch has a 52-hour power reserve, and it is both a COSC chronometer and a coaxial escapement using the George Daniels invented co-axial escapement system, which allows the watch to have a longer power reserve, greater short-term timing stability, and reduced long-term maintenance requirements. You can also see that because this is a Frederic Piguet Omega movement based on the F Piguet 1285, you wind up with a much higher standard of detailing and finish than you would get on, say, a standard Omega Moonwatch. So it's visually interesting on both sides. This is a watch that has both the beauty and the brains, and while it's certainly an extravagant and unreserved statement, nevertheless there's a lot to love because it's all factory and you'll never see another one. If you want the absolute in exclusivity as well as extravagance, extroverted, look at me sensation on your wrist, this is that. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Omega De Ville Rattrapante by night fully loomed.